Group data is data that is essentially in a frequency table. We're going to find the mean and standard deviation of group data in this section. Here's a number of calls to a roadside service in December of 2003 by certain drivers. What it is it means that there were 0 to 39 calls one time. There were 40 to 79 calls 5 times, and so on. If I wanted to find the mean and standard deviation for this frequency table, where I run into an issue is I don't know out of these 5 how many of these were, say, 40s, 41s, 42s, 43s, and so on. I kind of lose the data and all that information when it's put into a histogram like that. So there is a way to do it. What you would do is very similar to what you did for your standard deviation before. Except for now, every time that you see X, it is the class midpoint. This lowercase f is the frequency of each of those classes. N is the total number of all the classes of all the data in the table. Sometimes it's written as the sum of all the F's or sum of all the frequencies. And then treat each entry as if it falls as that class midpoint. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, again, these formulas are going to be in the back of the book, but here's your sampled mean. You're going to take your individual midpoints right there. Again, that's midpoint. And that is your frequency. Multiply each midpoint times its frequency, then add them up and divide by n. Your standard deviation, again, this looks really close to what we did for sample standard deviation. All that's different is we got this f. Or you got this computational formula that you could use as well. But I'll let you take a look at those in the back of the book. But here's my table. I've got ages of certain people from 30 to 34. There's 4 of them. 35 to 39, there's 5 of them, and you can read it and so forth. I got my class midpoint. So I took 30 plus 34 divided by 2, and that works out to be 32. I noticed this, though, that 30 to 34 is 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That means my class size is 5. So I can actually get my next midpoint by just adding that 5, adding 5, adding 5. Yep. And, again, the sum of the frequency would be 20. There's 4, 5, 2, and 9. Just add those up. And now it's a little bit different. I'm going to have a third column here. I'm going to take each midpoint times the frequency. So I get that 128 by taking 4 times 32, 5 times 37, and 2 times 42, and so on. So again, 4 times 32, 5 times 37, 2 times 42, and 9 times 49 to get those values. And then I'm going to sum those up, get that 840, divided by 20, and my sample mean is going to be 41. And just like we did for standard deviation, I need that mean of 41. There's that X bar of 41. And I'm going to take each of my midpoints, and I'm going to take that mean away. So some numbers are negative, like here I got a -9, -4, 1, and 6. I'll go and I'll square it and get 81, 16, 1, and 36. The only difference is now I'm going to have to go through and multiply all those by their frequency. Since my frequency for this first class is 4, I'll take 81 times 4. That's how I get 324. Multiply that by 5 times 2 times 9. And then I'm going to find the sum of that, and there's 730. Okay, remember n is the sum of the frequencies, so it's 20. So I'm going to end up taking that 720 and divide by 19, take the square root, and I get about 6.2, and there's my standard deviation. Okay, another way you can do that, here's the computational formula. I will take my midpoints again, and there's my frequency. Same thing, x times f, so 4 times 32 gives me this 138. But I'm going to take it one farther. I am going to multiply this xf times another x. And that's going to give me x squared f. So there's that 4096. Do the same thing all the way through. At the end, find the sum of those. That number is going to go right there. that number is going to go right there. Again, n is the same thing as the sum of my f's, so there's my 20. Okay, and if you notice that 730 is the same number as it was before, divided by 19, take the square root, I still get 6.2. So it's just a matter of which formula you want to go about and use. Okay, there's some homework problems there. I'd suggest doing a couple of those, just kind of get ready for class, get some practice with it, get used to the notations and things like that.